Hey everyone, Mike Miller with the Herald Times, joined by IU basketball columnist Jeremy Price, back again at Assembly Hall. We've been here a couple times already this week. Be back again in a couple more.
Yeah, a few more
days, and actually 2 more games left this week. But this was the big one. This was the one we've been pointing to ever since that the trip to Hawaii ended. Was this game here, November 30th, North Carolina ACC Big Ten Challenge. Really the marquee game of that ACC Big Ten Challenge. This one was for all the peanut M&Ms that Dick Vitale left here on this table. Uh-oh, did we lose you? I think we might have lost him.
Oh, hey, we're back.
We're back. All right, we're back.
Anyway, this game was so good, it made Mike's hair stand on end.
Yeah, look at that. I didn't style it this way. I didn't. I just saw myself on the screen and it appeared all wacky and wild. And yeah, this is a hair-raising game when you're on a tight deadline like this. But
yes.
Anyway, it was a victory, a 76-67 Indiana victory over North Carolina, previously unbeaten North Carolina, which was out to a 7-0 start to the year, 7-0. Indiana now 5-1. North Carolina is now the third number 3 team to lose, joining Kansas, Indiana, and joining those two, and it's not a third. Don't be number 3 this year. It is not a good omen. Anyway, a lot of things to talk about in this one. I think yesterday when we did our where to start. Yesterday when we did our preview video, we mentioned the size of North Carolina and just the importance Indiana had put on being on the glass, matching at the very least North Carolina on the glass. And that's what they did by the end of the game. Each team had 37 rebounds, but I think for a large part of the game, especially early, Indiana really did a nice job just attacking the glass, beating North Carolina to the glass, and just kind of matching with that intensity and tenacity that they needed.
Yeah, it was, kind of reminded me a little bit of the last time that North Carolina came to Assembly Hall 4 years ago now, I believe it was.
2012.
And Indiana really beat North Carolina at its own game, and for at least the first, 10, 15 minutes maybe of this one, it was kind of the same story. Indiana was the team that was asserting itself on the glass, offensive glass, cleaning up the defensive glass, was the team that was being successful in transition. All those things that you certainly weren't expecting after last week's performance at Fort Wayne, but I think you could have painted a picture where there were 100 ways that North Carolina could, come in here and give Indiana a lot of problems, but the fact is that Indiana's pretty good at Assembly Hall, and always has been. And on top of that, Tom Crean teams have always been outstanding as a little bit of an underdog against top-flight teams, which obviously they were painted into that corner after that loss at Fort Wayne last week. And I don't think you can, I don't know how much of a factor it was, but you wonder if it was a factor that this was North Carolina's first game since that trip to Maui 7 days ago, and took them a little while to find their sea legs. But there's a lot of things you can credit for the start tonight. Clearly Indiana came out with an intensity and purpose and a toughness on the defensive end and on the glass that we hadn't seen at Fort Wayne or even in the Mississippi Valley State game last weekend, for that matter. Really, they had that going for them. The crowd was obviously into it. It was one of those magical Assembly Hall nights that you kind of forget about sometimes with these cupcake games, what this atmosphere can be like, and this is sort of a nice reminder of what this place can be.
It makes you feel like this is just it's a lot of fun to be in college basketball environments like this, where I got here very early. I think we actually both pulled up at the same time, about almost 3 hours before tip. I just wanted to experience the environment because, like you said, it was going to be a special night with the 81 guys. Obviously, the students were jacked for this one. Walking by the student line at about 6:30 this evening, they were chanting, "Let us in, let us in." It got wild and rowdy out there. Yeah. And, of course, as soon as I got in here, they really set the tone for the pregame. And it was loud, of course, when, oh, my gosh, maybe the loudest of the night was when Kyle Schwarber came out and was presented a game ball as the honorary captain. They loved seeing Kyle Schwarber. They also loved seeing the 81 guys who were here sitting right behind the basket at one point. And this might have been, honestly, basketball aside, the highlight of the night was Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah was just loving himself here tonight. He really seemed to be having a great time. At one point, late in the first half, he had the one of the big heads. It was the crying Michael Jordan meme, big head, and he was holding it up. He was showing the guys on the '81 team. Whitman was cracking up. I mean, Ray Tolbert everyone was like, "What are you doing?" It was a great moment. It was I think a lot of fun for a lot of Indiana fans, for the Hoosiers themselves. An emotional night just to be able to take it to a North Carolina team that ended their season, ended an uplifting season only a few short months ago, and come out and once again flash what I think is at least close to the better, best version of themselves. Defensively, again, OG Anunoby was all over the place. Rob Johnson had a really good game. Really was right in the middle, keying that attacking mindset early. Had a team-high 5 rebounds at halftime. 10 of his 11 points came in the first half. Again, just really on the ball. Had 3 steals. Just another really solid defensive night for Rob Johnson. I think he really helped set that tone for Indiana on that end of the floor.
Yeah, and in Rob Johnson's case, obviously, first of all, that he was recruited by North Carolina, was one of the 2 or 3 final schools when he made his decision for Indiana. And I think the other thing that's easy to forget is Robert Johnson wasn't healthy last year when it was Sweet 16 time and didn't get to play against North Carolina and wasn't, was a non-factor against that team. And so I think he had multiple reasons to be fired up and ready to go tonight.
He was.
And he's been playing pretty well this season, too. I mean, he came in shooting, I think, 60% from the field and picked up right where he left off as far as that went at the start of the game and really helped this team get off to a great start. And then, he wasn't perfect tonight, but I thought Josh Newkirk was a big factor tonight. Really nice compliment to Johnson. And there were times where he tried to do too much and tried to get to the basket and was going too far getting to the basket. But he also showed some nice mid-range pull-up jumpers, hit a couple of threes, made a couple defensive plays. And for a guy that, has had a year off and I thought both against Kansas and then tonight against North Carolina, against high-level competition, he flashed a lot of potential of what he can do, and you've got to believe that he's only going to get more comfortable and better as this season goes on the court. So, both those guards were big. Obviously, James Blackman being healthy and back in the lineup tonight was huge again. Both the Kansas game, where basically Blackman got hot and carried the team late in that game. This time it wasn't rely on one guy to get hot and carry you through the night. It was a different guy for a couple plays here and a couple plays there.
Yeah.
Thomas Bryant had a nice stretch. OG Anunoby had a nice stretch. Newkirk had a nice stretch.
Deron Davis even too.
Deron Davis was excellent off the bench in the first half, not scoring so much, but just defense and rebounding, position basketball was really good. And then in the second half, actually came up with some big baskets. Had a big free throw, had a post move for a score as Carolina was trying to get back into it. So basically a lot of different guys did a lot of different things that contributed to this win. And that's kind of the depth and balance that we thought this team would have and saw a little bit of that against Kansas, but I think we saw a little bit more of that tonight. Granted, it was at home, and there's, translating that on the road and translating that into consistency is yet to come. But, hey, it's, I guess it's December technically now, but only 1 month in the books.
It's fitting that we remind people the date. It was after the challenge game last year at Duke when Tom Crean said about 30 times, December 2nd, I'm not worried about this. We'll get it fixed, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, no, there's still a lot to come with this season. But again, absolutely encouraging, uplifting win that included some very timely moments, timely baskets, as you said, just different guys surfacing at the most important moments, whether it was a James Blackman 3 late or, again, just some of the other plays just around the court that really pushed Indiana over the top here tonight. The only concern, or the lingering concern from here is going to be OG Anunoby's health. He went up for a dunk. He converted the dunk, and then he came down, and I didn't exactly see it. Look like he landed awkwardly on his left foot.
Yeah, I didn't get a look at a replay, but I had several people on Twitter told me it looked like he rolled his ankle on that, and Crean said it was looked like a high ankle sprain. Maybe he wasn't ready to pronounce a diagnosis exactly, but sounds like that's what it is. And the good news is that, frankly, Indiana doesn't need OG Anunoby for the next 2.5 weeks, basically, until that Butler game. So there's some time to heal, and it may take longer than that, and if it does, so be it. I mean, this is the time of year, there's a lot more to lose in trying to play an unhealthy OG Anunoby against Butler or whatever than there is to gain from it at this point. So, if he's not back till after Christmas for the conference opener or Louisville game or whatever the case may be, I don't think that's a big deal for Indiana either. But it's still a concern.
It is, yeah, absolutely. No, he was. I think he saw exactly, in that Fort Wayne game, just how much a healthy, connected OG Anunoby is to this team, and you're going to be able to get by these next 2.5 weeks, but you'd hope a month from now, this is not a lingering thing. And that's the thing, too. You don't want it to become a lingering thing because those kind of things can linger, and that's certainly not what you want in February and, of course, March.
Yeah, and there were some other, I don't know if they're injuries, but bumps and bruises throughout the night. Rob Johnson was getting worked on at one point. I don't know if it was a cramp or Charlie Horse or something like that. It looked like he was getting a muscle rubbed out at one point early in the second half. Juwan Morgan came up grimacing, kind of grabbing the shoulder.
Grabbing the same surgically repaired.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously didn't look like it popped out or anything, but, nobody wants to see that start up again, right. Least of all Juwan Morgan. So certainly some concerns there. But, this is one of those games that you're going to come out bumped and bruised. And, obviously the difficult thing is Indiana has a game on Friday, has a game on Sunday, so there's not a lot of time to heal. But those aren't games that, frankly, being here at Assembly Hall, that should trouble them too much. Should be able to get some of the guys.
Freddie McSwain's weekend.
Freddie McSwain, Devontae Green didn't see a whole lot of time tonight. Curtis Jones, as good as he was against Kansas, he struggled under the big lights a little bit tonight.
Started okay, but I mean, it that quickly disappeared. You thought, okay, this is big game Curtis again, and then he forced some stuff, took some ill-advised shots, and again, just never really found his level against the Tar Heels. But Indiana did as a whole, and was rewarded with a victory, a much important victory, a victory that it can claim and hold high come March. So
huge,
big night,
big
night. So with that, we will be back here in just a couple nights. Who we got? SIU Edwardsville is coming in.
Yeah.
They were actually in Hawaii, I think, playing Hawaii right after IU played Kansas the same night, like an hour later. I think that was SIU because I was peeking out at the game. But
I'll take your word for it, since you were there.
Don't, because I'm not exactly sure that was the case. Anyway, so on that note, on Mike being unsure of himself, let's end this.
All right.
We'll see you in a few nights.